Hey playa, this is the Josh Speaks and you're watching Warriors of Wrestling, the best independent wrestling company across the entire country. So hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell so you can know whenever they post a new wrestling video. As always, love and peace.
Working with people when it comes to hands-on and doing stuff in the ring, but the two things I always tell people is to keep your mouth shut and your ears open and listen to everybody. Just listen to absorb all the information of how to do things, pick things apart, any advice that people can give you. But mainly, record your work too. If you every chance you get, record everything. Record how you move in the ring. Because for me, I feel like nobody's going to care about your work, but more than you. You want to get better, you want to improve. Be a person like a football player who reviews their work all the time. Study every little bit of your form. Study how you throw punches, how you throw kicks, your ring positioning, wherever you go, how you bump the feet, how you sell. Pick it apart because you should always want to be better than the last time you were in the ring. So to me, that's the main thing I say is that if you don't care about your work, if you don't pick it apart, you think you already know everything, then that's when you start becoming stale. If you think you already know everything, then what's the point? But usually, say if doctors or anybody like that, they continue to study because things continue to change. Wrestling keeps evolving. And that's what I was telling people too. Right now, I'm still learning. People are teaching now that things have evolved and things are different. I'm learning new stuff now, and it's a beautiful thing. That means you love wrestling, you want to improve, you go along with the changes. But when it comes to the fundamentals, sometimes they suck and they're boring, but there's a reason for them all. There's a reason for them all. Every little bit of how you get up, the way you get up, the way you feed, there's a reason for it all. And it just may seem so boring, but it's worth it. So, we'll go around and we'll see what everybody wants to take out of this. So let's start.
I guess the big thing for me would be psychology.
Psychology. Yes. Okay. That's my favorite. But I'm gonna do that and then go and I'll do it.
I'm brand new, so I just want to learn.
Yeah. All information's gonna be good.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Separating yourself from everybody else to stand out more compared to probably what people are wearing hundreds of times over.
That's true. Okay.
Same thing, all the information I can.
Being different and becoming the better me in the ring. That's what I want to do.
One thing I was hoping you could speak on a little bit is one of the things I remember most you doing well is your work ringside as a manager was very iconic to me. So I wanted to your perspective on that.
I love being manager. Manager's always awesome. I think I used to shit on being managers where I'm I don't want to be a manager, I want to wrestle. But managing is such a beautiful art form. It's a dying art. And people take it for granted. They think you just show up and it's no, you have to pay attention to all these things. You have to make sure, for me, I knew everybody's spots and everything. I learned everything I'm supposed to because if somebody gets a concussion, then I'm the one who knows everything. And I tell somebody, okay, you're supposed to do this next. Or I know that I have to give somebody the Iggy for something. It's an important role. And it also tells a story. Being a manager is you need to know how to emphasize things without having to take away the intention because the main focus should be what's in the ring. But you also have to tell a story by being that character on the outside of the ring. So it's a beautiful art. Good.
Say psychology and character development.
Okay. First part's setting yourself apart. I tell people that each and every one of us are uniquely different, of course. Everybody's different, and no one's alike. And that's what's going to set you apart. People think that because you have a similar look or whatnot, that that you have to step on other people and do all this other stuff to be the only one. No, the way you see things, the way you react, the way you move, the things you like sets you apart. It plays. It's also in your evolution as a wrestler, because when I first started, I was all about like video games and Lara Croft and all this stuff, and that's how I like the first character I was a Lara Croft character, and then she evolved into something else. Then you take little bits and pieces, and other opportunities get presented to you, and then you take those little bits and pieces and create something from them. So it's all about evolution and just being who you are, what resonates to you, how you move, how you act. Like you could take your most, this is like your opportunity, this is what it could be. Sometimes people present to you a character because they see something that you can't see that fits you. And you can take that with a grain of salt and be like, you know what, I see what they see, but what if I did a little spin on this? Or sometimes this is your opportunity to be your favorite freaking character, or whatever, be somebody that you're not. It's like, you have fun with this, it's wrestling. It's wrestling, this is your chance to just be anything you want to be inside this ring. Be a superhero, anything you want. So that's what I think is the beauty of wrestling. But your personality is the way it is, like all these little things that you like, that's what sets you apart. That's what makes it different. So it's like you'll
Be more
always
yourself. And bring yourself out in the ring.
They always say it's like you should always be you, but 10,000 like times larger than life. So that's gonna be what you could do in there, and that's why I also too, when you're in here, you have to. The reason I say study your form and everything is because instead of just walking in there, you have to like pay attention to the way you stand, be taller, be bigger, so that the person they always say, make sure that when you hit a move, when you walk into the ring, that person over there has to be able to see you. So like that's why the extension of like when you throw a punch or when you throw a kick or when you like walk around, they have to be able to see you. So like pay attention to every little thing about that. But you're supposed to be you, but 10,000 times bigger. Psychology. The way I see it is like, I always tell people that, I don't know, we have UFC, we have like, I used to be, or not used to be, I'm a huge Rocky fan. So, and then my dad was a boxer, so to me, Rocky's my dad. So, I always saw people would fight for something. And the way I see it is, every time you get into this ring, what are you fighting for? What is your character fighting for? Is it for a title? Did someone screw you over? Is it because you just don't like the way they look, or they took something from you? Like every time you when you develop a match, it should be that you are fighting for something. Because what's the point of wrestling if you're not fighting for something? So like with the psychology, you just have to. It's all granted. It's all just like when it comes to character and some moves. It's all like subjective, but when it comes to psychology, it has to make sense. It has to be, it's like acting. What's the purpose of this? Why are you doing that? I wish like things have changed, like I'm sorry, but things have changed so much when it comes to wrestling. I love all these awesome moves, but it's kind of like, I'm gonna work somebody where if I'm like in a tree low and I have to hang myself up so she can hit me with the move, that makes no sense to me. Why would I hold myself up? So like when it comes to like certain moves, like granted everything's subjective in wrestling, but what I used to love about what we did is that you suspend belief. You make people think for that moment while they're watching, even though they know it's fake, you make them believe it's real. I love that so much. I love making people believe that this person's angry, this person's a bitch or asshole, or this person will really fight to help somebody out. Like you suspend belief in there, and that's a beautiful thing. I love that. Love that so much. You make a person believe, and that's everything. You you learn how to tell a story, and you have everybody eating on the your hands. That's why watching work back. Did I make somebody believe you look good out there? You gotta take pride in what you do so you can get better. But I don't know, I'm probably like not touching the points like maybe that you would want to hear, but is there anything else, like any other, let's keep asking questions and pick stuff apart.
When you were mentioning about the manager working, you would tell people the spots and everything. How would you go about doing that without getting caught?
Well, there are just moments where it looks like say if I pretend I'm screaming in their face, I'd look at them and I'd just get in there like as if I'm saying something mean, but I'm not really saying something mean. I'm just saying, "Are you okay?" But it's just moments like that, or either that, or if it was something happened to Joey, because I know one time he got rocked, and it was just more actually being there saying, "Are you okay?" So I didn't have to really fake that because he's my partner.
And like you said, if someone gets rocked, if they spill out to the side and someone else is in there, the other guy in the team, how would you go about telling him the next few spots? And I'm talking about the opponent, not your team you're managing, like just in case they forget something, or is it not your responsibility?
No, but usually it would be easier if I told my say my tag team, like the tag team I'm managing, because since they're the heels, they can go in there. I can see if they're okay. And then the ref acts as if they're like, "Oh, get away." Then I go and I tell them because they're the ones in control. They're going to be able to pick him up if they need to do whatever's next. But again, if I'm in this scenario to, like, say I've never been a baby face doing that. So say though I was a baby face manager at the time, like I wouldn't even know how to do that because I've never been in this situation. I've always been heel, and that's what I definitely know, like how to work. You made me think about it.
I wanted to ask like what are some pointers on being a heel that I could add to like what I'm doing to people doing?
When it comes to being a heel, you have to take your time. It's like you need to learn how to. This is what I felt like when I was, or when I had to learn to be a heel and to take control. Sometimes when you're new, adrenaline goes and you kind of rush faster than you should, and then you realize, oh, when you watch back tape and stuff like that, you're like, oh, I'm moving too fast, like, oh, I'm rushing through everything. You learn how to change time in there. Like I learned how to like slow down time, and even though it seems like I'm going slow, I'm going the right pace. So you need to learn to take your time and assess everything. What I was taught was when you're the heel, you're supposed to be the veteran. You're supposed to be the one who tells everybody like to make sure you're in control of everything, and then you're also the one that makes everybody look good. So. For me, I think it's a beautiful thing when you're a heel. You have to sacrifice. So you want to hit your cool moves to be a good heel. You don't hit your cool moves. You make the baby face look good. It's all about the baby face getting over for that time period.
I think a lot of people don't get that, especially heels. They think they want to get their shit in. I think that there is a place in a match where a heel could get one or two nice moves in.
Yeah, but after that, the baby face is supposed to hit a cooler move than you right after that. And you need to pick and choose your moves because it's all about the baby face getting over.
I think it got to the point where some people in the audience don't know who's a face or who's a heel.
Yeah.
Because the match is just moves.
Yeah. And I get all upset when stuff like that happens. I was like, what the and I see this, I'm like, wait a minute, this makes no sense. But that's the art of being a heel, is just, you're supposed to get hated. You're supposed to because the baby face is supposed to be the hero. And now, of course, now we have this day and age where you got your tweeners and all this stuff because they're relatable, but still it's all about telling the story. And people love to hate somebody because once they go through a horrible day and they just want to unleash their aggression from the day or driving or whatever is going on in their life, they want to suspend belief and cheer for somebody that they feel like, this is the person I wish I could be or that is representing me. And then boo the bad guy that they probably know, that they're like, I know a guy like that. Oh, I can't stand him. And they just want to yell at him. You have to be self-sacrificing, and it's a beautiful thing. I think some people can't see it, but I feel like my character always stayed strong in being a strong individual without looking weak, but always putting the baby face on, always making the person I'm in there in the ring looking good. And it's fun though. I love that. I love being the one that takes control and tells the story. But I always recommend watching movies and take people that have been bad to you and taking those characters or little bits and pieces of these people who you've seen and putting that into your character as a heel. Because that's what I did. And I guess people were just so mean that I thought, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. Exactly what you just said to me. Or even like when it came to like the way my cousins or something like that would look at their nails or flip their hair. I was like, I'm doing that. I'm gonna use that for my character. And you just take little inspirations from everybody. And I also say you could take inspiration from UFC, watching UFC and all this stuff. Because I used to watch that. Now we would watch UFC, and I would see how people sell. How people would put each other in a hold and then work out of it or whatever, because they're not working, you know what I mean? They're actually struggling to get out. And that I always think that's the way I wanted to look. I wanted to look like that. When you throw a punch or receive a punch, like this is the way we should be selling. Except again, it has to be bigger because you have to sell it better. People don't sell punches anymore either. It's like, I just took it. Like, I know it happens at first, but at some point it looks so much better when you sell it away. You sell it away and you register and it's like, now I just want to kill you. Stuff like that, you feel it.
What do you feel like in managerial work is like the best amount of involvement the manager should have in the match versus like should they be like situations where it could be like the manager's too much involved or like making it about the match but still having your place in it?
Yeah, there's some people who just like it's all about them. It's like, look, we gotta tell the story here. So you know, if you pay attention like to when the match is like where the heat spot is, when they're gonna do their comeback, all this stuff, you cannot take away from these moments. You can't be yelling and screaming and doing in those moments because the audience has to see when that heat spot happens. They have to feel bad during like when they start when they're like doing the holds. They have to see the pivotal point of finally doing the comeback. Moments like that needs to be showcased inside the room, so you have to stay quiet and low, and then but still sell like no, it can't go wrong. You still but you sell it with your facial your reactions, and people get with that because whether they're with you or they want to hate you, if they see you, say if you're hated and they want to see your facial reactions and you're like, oh no, they want to cheer because it's like, oh yeah, it's getting to him. Or if you're baby face and you're hurting, they want to feel the same thing. So in those moments, you just have to keep it to facial reactions. But you'll know your moments where you're helping out because sometimes like you need to help out with like getting the people riled up and all this stuff. It's like those moments are good, and then you have your spots. You'll know your moments, but yeah, you should really make. I was always told to make your moments from the beginning and end, because the entrance is everything for managers. Entrance is everything, and then during the meantime, that's when it's the workers' time. It's the wrestling time. They got their turn to wrestle, but we accent that. We tell the story that needs to be told through that. That's like your manager.
No, I'm curious about that part because like people mainly focus on I feel like the 3 men in the ring or 3 people in the ring, the 2 wrestlers and the referee. But sometimes that's just an added part of the match, so I'm just generally interested.
Yeah, and usually they should involve the manager, the valet, because I mean, what's the point of having somebody go out there if you're not going to utilize them at all? So usually they should use whoever's out there, because it sets them apart. It sets them apart from everyone else. Why not? Why not use it? But sometimes they don't.
Melina, the guy in the end, John, he's not a manager. He wrestles, but he's like a hired muscle, a bodyguard type. What's the difference between what he's doing and an actual manager? If you give him points on that. Because he's not going to be out there yelling. He's very quiet. He's there to take care of business type deal. You know what I mean?
What do you do?
Muscle, yeah.
You just go out there and you're just like...
Yeah, stuff like that.
Like a Mr. Hughes, or Diesel was for Shawn Michaels in the beginning.
No, because the good part about that and the awesome part about that is people know that one day you're going to do something. So the anticipation is there. Is this the time he's going to do something? Is he going to do something right now? What is he going to do? So at some point, the time you do something is going to be significant. I think it's only awesome. You just stand there and you're just like, what's he going to do? You're gonna have him like kick somebody's ass, no?
No, he does get involved, and he wrestles now. But I'm just saying, as far as the differentiation between your regular manager, like he was talking about, and a bodyguard type manager, you know.
Oh, it's harder because he's there with his character, but because of the way his character is, he has to stand still and he has to be quiet and he has to just watch instead of be interactive. Like in the sense of where like you won't see him being like, oh come on everybody or something. You have to like stay in that character and just be like you're watching everything, but you're not saying anything. So it's like your role is different because your character is different.
Yeah.
That's still fun though. More stuff. Keep asking. Whatever.
Guys, she's not here every day. Ask questions.
You're saying about like staying true to your character, but making a Facebook, like how do you do that?
So what I usually do, it's because the way I always told my story with the character is that just because you're getting rocked doesn't mean you're not in the fight. Like that always came natural to me because it's just like something you feel in life. I may get hit, but I'll keep coming back up. So whether a heel or baby face, that's why I feel like always stay strong that way. Just because you got that's another thing where I feel personally, some people when they realize like, oh, you're not going over, people get upset. So they tend not to try in a match because it's like, well, I'm not even going over, so what's the point? To me, that makes me fight more because it's like, oh, well, if I'm taking a loss or if I'm giving up the title, I'm going to make this person like earn it. Let them tell that story that this person's going to earn this title, earn this win. So in turn, people don't remember a lot of times who won or lost. They remember that this person had fight. This person kept getting up. This person kept you can see they feel emotion more than they like. Granted, people love Beautiful Moon, but what stands the test of time is how you make somebody feel. So once you make somebody feel like, wow, that person had strength in them, like they really wanted that so bad, or that loss they hurt so bad, like that'll stay with them long.
He was told by a trainer at another school that moves are the only thing that matters in the match.
Yeah.
Oh wow! What?
Now he's smart enough to know, but of course you go somewhere, you're respectful. Okay, you know.
What school was this?
I'm not gonna say it on tape. I'll tell you later.
Oh my god! I mean, no. Like they always say, like the prime example of like what people say is like the Hulk Hogan thing. Like he had what, 5 moves and that's it, just like John Cena. And the only thing, well, maybe that's not a good example, but it's just like he stood the test of time. He was like forever. Hulk Hogan was everything, and he only did those 5 moves, and that's it. Sometimes people just resonate with characters. Like and then they say also, what's his name? Why am I brain farting? Ultimate Warrior. Oh God, my brother was obsessed with him. And
He did nothing.
Moves.
He did nothing.
Yeah, it was about how he made them feel. That my brother would go around the house doing the exact same thing and wanting to dress up like him. It's about how they make you feel that stands the test of time.
He's iconic now.
Yes. I mean, it's great to do all this cool stuff. I always tell people I admire people who are able to do all this stuff. But sometimes it's just, for me, I was lucky enough to be able, as long as I got to tell my story, that's all, I took pride in that. Somebody needed to be the one to tell the story for all the other people who, like, with all the girls I work with, get them through to be able to tell our stories together. That makes you more valuable, I think, like being able to tell that story. Because God, some of these kids, bless them, I'm like, you're so brilliantly athletic, but this isn't a paper, you're not getting paid that much, you're like, you're doing all this stuff, like they're in their 20s and they're not even going to be able to walk by the time they get out of their 20s. I'm like, what? So it's a little bit like, do the cool stuff when it fits, like psychology-wise, and you shouldn't like be denied of trying to do that, but just be smart. Be smart because this is your bodies, and if you love wrestling, if you truly love wrestling, you'd want to have longevity.
So, cool question about that with like knowing when to do the cool moves. Somebody like me or him that are smaller guys and we do like the lucha stuff and we have to fly around. How would you incorporate that so we don't do it to the point where we're hurting ourselves? Like.
Well, how much of it? Well, you don't do. It depends on like how, like what kind of moves you do, or it's like damaging yourself, or is it just like? Because there's some lucha stuff where it's like it's just rolling, and then it's not like a person. You're doing all this cool stuff, but a person's facing you, so it's all just a beautiful dance. But there's some stuff where I'm like, damn, there's a lot of like landing on the knees and on your head, and then over the course of time, it's like. Ooh, that there's a wear and tear on that.
Yeah, like stuff like that. So it's like the more dangerous lucha moves, like stuff like the top rope and stuff like that. Like, those should be like an occasion in themselves, not like for a little crowd or a small show.
You would think at some point, but people are doing them all the time, so I don't even know what to say anymore. Personally, I'm like, save it, but people are just going all ham now. I'm like, so. I don't know what to tell. I would tell you, say if you're my kid, I would tell you, just save your body for stuff. I mean, I see people and it's like they'll jump off of whatever and people aren't even catching them. Part of me thinks it's like, well, if your body's, if you got exceptional genes and your bones don't break and you're able to do this stuff and last a while, that's cool, but when you need like ankle and knee replacements and hip replacements, and God, I hope you're making that Taker McFoley money.
As a heel, how would you consider like many ways of getting heat like from other people?
Sometimes I don't like cheap heat. You think that the way like personally for me, this is just a personal thing, where you gotta think of like what are the people that you've encountered that are complete douches that you're like, okay, this person's like, it's like listening to them or the thought of them is just like scratches on a chalkboard. You think about that. Why do you like think about what triggers you when it comes to that and then reenact it? Because to me, when a person's more real, instead of like that like cheesy, hokey heel thing, I'd rather see a person where it's like, God, I know a person like that. And drives me crazy, and that makes that would make you more believable as a heel. It'll probably also set you apart too, because like everybody's always doing like I'm just so cool. And they're like, oh my goodness, that's just overdone and just overdone so much. But get a person who's just really vindictive. Because some people just are. They're vindictive, manipulative, and you put that in the ring, it's like, damn, this person's just off their rock. I mean, it depends on what kind of what resonates to you, what kind of heel, what kind of bad guy that you've watched throughout in any movie. What kind of bad guy character do you resonate with and that fits you? That you think that's like an interesting character that you can portray and that you'd like to showcase. The parts like that I think is the most funnest thing, is creating your character. Once you find that, again, it doesn't stop there. You realize this is the kind of character I see, and then again an evolution where you realize, okay, this character's now going to do this, and this character's now going to do that. I could add this to my repertoire, or I could add this to how they see the world and the way they act and the way they stand. It's like every little bit, how you carry yourself, how you walk, everything says something about the character you are.
So a lot of us are in like an early stage of developing our character and such. So I was wondering your perspective on how to make like a good entrance for your character, and what specific things, in your opinion, do make an entrance good.
Personalities, everything. Again, it goes. A person could just hold a pencil, and it's the way they act, the way they sit, the way they whatever they portray, whatever they give, that energy they give out, that's what you feel. They do something so minimal, and at the same time you feel it because of how their person, the way they carry themselves. It's all about that. You can have a person do absolutely nothing, just walk on out, and then get in, and it's because of the way they carry themselves that says so much more. It says so much. So you could do something crazy and different, or whatever, do splits like I did. You could do that, but it's all on how you carry yourself. That's going to be everything. So if you're feeling it, that's why usually when you do certain little things, and the way you dress, that your character is, the way you do your look and everything, that just helps you be a better you. That makes you feel good. That makes you feel like you're in the zone. So it's all about you feeling good, you feeling in the zone, you feeling like you could, you own this room, you own this crowd. You feeling that, and then they believe it because you're believing it. You just put out that vibe, and that's what people feel. That's what people see. So it just, you could think of a bunch of things, and I'm not saying don't. You could be creative. Go use the turnbuckles. You could use the ropes. You could just slide on through. You could go ahead. This is, again, it's wrestling. Be creative. This is what we do. This is the beauty of our art, is that we analyze everything. I couldn't imagine any an actor. I mean, we do everything all into one. We're athletes. We're fighters. We have to improvise. We do improvisation. We got to know where all the cameras are. We got to be sure that we protect each other. We have to think of so many things all wrapped up into one. And we're allowed to be creative in everything we do, whether it's our gear, the storytelling we tell in there, how we enter the ring, everything. Take pride in it all, and go crazy. Go crazy when it comes to being creative. You don't have to, but it's fun. I do believe personality, just that essence about the way a person carries himself, totally is everything. You can see sometimes people will walk into a room, you're just somewhere, somebody walks into a room a certain way, and it's that person stands out because of the way they carry themselves. do that. Just putting stuff out there.
You talked about pulling inspiration from people, so I just want to get some perspective from you. When you were breaking into this, who are some people you took from, and what was the biggest thing you took from them that helped you overall as a competitor or whatever?
I won't name names, just all the people who shit on me.
Okay.
All the people who were just really mean to me, that I would take bits and pieces of them, like the way they acted, the things they said, or how, like, again, how they carried themselves, and I would put that into my character of her being so snotty and like looking down on people and all this stuff. Little bits and pieces like that. It's just like I would take and I would act. The funny thing is the actual character, I started doing research on what's her name? Paris Hilton. So basically my character was supposed to be like a Paris Hilton, like she's famous for doing nothing. So that's why, like, when it came to Eminem, that's how I saw her. She's like demanding stuff, but she hasn't earned shit. So that's why I felt like that's the way the character started. Sometimes you gotta look at like things that people say, because I never intended to be, one, didn't intend to be a manager, and then two, they kept calling me a model and I wasn't. Like, I came in with models, even though I had indie experience, but everybody kept considering me a model, and people treated me like shit because I knew I wasn't taken seriously, because in their mind I didn't have any wrestling background. So part of me took that, because I was always told perception is reality, and it's like, if this is the way people see me, then I guess I'm gonna, because they also kept calling me Hollywood because I was born because I was lived in LA. I was born in LA, and so I kept thinking, well, if this is the way they see me, then this is the character I'm gonna be. So I took that and I created what we became. So it's like, sometimes people give you opportunities, sometimes you create it, but you have to have, like, see the whole bigger picture and be like, okay, what do I feel like I could work with? That I could create something there.
Nice. That's a new one.
WWE, like, camera work, how you say working cameras and all that.
Oh, it's great because then we have the 2 cameras and then the hard cam, which always helps. Which is funny because it's like live events, you don't have to work, you work for the audience, but of course, like TV, you have to work camera. It's all about working the camera. So that's why whenever we did like holds, it always goes to hard cam. But then at the same time, when you start, like, when you're doing stuff in the ropes or in the turnbuckles and stuff, we had the ones on the side, so you always work those cameras. So it's all about doing that. So it was pretty easy for me to switch it on and off to work those. It didn't seem hard for me, as long as you just remember. But that's like your biggest tool. If you don't work the cameras, you're not getting your personality over, you're not getting your character over, you're not getting your work over. So it's kind of like, if you don't really utilize those, then you're missing your biggest opportunity to sell your stuff. Because I was always told that each time you step into the ring, that's an advertisement for yourself, to get your character and your work over. So every time you get in the ring, like, never squander it, because you're leaving. Not only are you planting seeds in every place that you go, in every city that you go, because you want that fan to remember you. You want them to remember your name. You want them to remember your character. But you're also selling yourself to like future promoters and to other wrestlers, because when people see you, because you'll go and you'll meet people, they see your work and they're like, wow, I could work with this person. Or a promoter can see it and it's like, wow, I could like, maybe I should book that person one day. So you gotta always take advantage of working in the ring, and just it's an advertisement for you and your work.
I have a question. So I know it's been a while since you've been there, but when you work for Raw or SmackDown, you're working the cameras. But when you're working the house show, you're not. Because
You're working for the crowd.
You're working for the crowd. So the style is totally different.
Because it's more freer, because then you can work any turnbuckle. Like, say, I mean, we can work this way, but you have to always want to face hard cam. But in live events, it's like, oh, it doesn't even matter.
And you could do, it's pretty much, you could wrestle a different style and everything like that. Okay.
A lot more freer. Be funner. And then, like, TV comes, and it's like, everything's like, I don't know, everything has to be more crisp, but facing a different way. I don't like it. Because, you know, you put somebody in a hole, it's like, oh, yeah, I gotta face this way.
If you're not working the hard cam, what happens when you get to the back?
I never did that, so I can't.
Oh, all right.
I'm more than sure people get yelled at. It's like, why'd you do that? Like, you know that the hard cam's over here. I know people get yelled at. I'm trying to remember if something similar happened where it's like, what were you thinking? Like, why would you do that? Why would you have your back facing hard cam? They just get yelled at and that's it. I don't think you get fined, but again, it's never happened. Never do it. Never do it.
When you received feedback from their matches there, what were things they liked and didn't like when they were looking at it? Like, what are things they look for that are good and things that they look out for that are possibly bad?
There'll always be something different. Like that's why it's always good to always look at your work. Like there's looking at your, okay, so when you have a match and you're watching over the match, there's marking out to yourself and there's studying your work. Because I know people who just like watch their matches because they're marking out to themselves, and it's like, you watch your shit back because you have to analyze it. But there'll be times where it's like, sometimes I don't see what the possibilities or the things that are there because I was never taught that, or I'm not paying attention. So I remember like one time, the last call got set as my finisher, because it was so impactful that Arn Anderson yelled at me. He's like, why? Why would you have like such an incredible move and have somebody kick out of it? He's like, that should have been your finisher. That should have been it instead of whatever the other move that I did. He's like, oh. And then I watched it back and I was like, oh my God, he was right. That looked good. So it's just like, they would always give feedback on, of course, when it comes to psychology like that, where do things make sense, the placement of stuff, or maybe it was just like, why did you guys do that? If we would have, like, there was another time when I did the I Quit match. That wasn't our fault, but they said that they wish they would have paid attention more because when we did the I Quit match, there was no microphone in the ring, and they can't hear me or see my face. So it was hindsight. The feedback after was, oh, we should have done this. So it's always going to be something different when it comes to TV. When it comes to when I was younger, it would be little things like I'm very when I was taught about bump and feed, I always thought I did it good in the indies until they told me when I got hired by the WWE, they're like, no, you need to be faster. You need to make sure you do this. So then I was always obsessed with it. Like I made sure, like I would slap my hand so many times to get up the right way. Remember. To always get up the right way. I would do stuff like that and then watch myself, and it was a game for me, like get up. Every time I'm on the ground, get up. And then I took pride in it. It would always be like, you need to move faster, sell that hard, all this stuff, but it was little bits and details so that when it was things that were crisp bumps to make somebody else look good. You're always gonna hear a lot of things, but you always take it with a grain of salt and listen to what everybody has to say. Because the worst thing you could say is, I know. Like, no, you don't know. You don't. Like I said before, as soon as you know, then what's the point of, like, that means you're stagnant and you're never gonna learn, like, get further than this in wrestling because you think you know everything. Just, like, listen to people and, like, okay. I'll take that into consideration. I'll think about that. I mean, I feel like that's better than I know. Like, oh, well, you know.
Well, yeah, but. Yeah, but's a common one. Yeah, but.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, but.
But what? So why are you
yeah, but.
Oh my goodness, I would get yelled at if I said that. Things have changed. Oh my goodness. Wait, you were gonna say something earlier, no?
Yes. When it comes to characters, how you said you take different traits. If you're like a really nasty heel and you get told, "Oh, we're turning you babyface," how do you transition from that into a heel? Or if you're an over babyface, how do you transition into a nasty heel? Like, is it?
I think it's easier to be babyface to heel than heel to babyface. Like, just personally, I feel like that's easy. Like that the babyface to heel is easier because when it comes to babyface to heel, you earned everybody's trust, and people believed in you, and so you get you actually become a bigger heel because you screwed the fans over. It's like, we believed in you, and you're like, yeah, I know, and I abused it. Like, so you'll get more heat. But when it comes to going heel to babyface, you have to earn the people's trust. You have to earn that, and which is super hard because you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose that character, but at the same time, you have to change so you can earn the people's trust. Like, it's so hard. You have to stop being as, how do I put it? Like, as douchey, because people want to have to believe that you're somebody they could believe in.
Right. So you're the nasty heel and say to change to babyface, you take away some of your qualities. Does that hurt your character in any way, or can they actually get better from it?
It depends. Like, okay, this is the way I saw it before. I was so happy. I'm like, yay, now I get to do my cool shit. Like, I got so happy because I got to do my moves. But then at the same time, it does take away some of, like, who you are. Because I was always told, stop being as aggressive. Which I understand their point, because if I keep being aggressive, they told me I made the heels, people feel sorry for the heel. Because I just go in there and start glomming people. And it's like, well, I don't know how to do this. So it was really difficult. It was really difficult for me. That's why you have to find, like, I'll be honest, I'm probably the worst person to say. Like, I tell people to this very day, I feel weird, like, I feel horrible being a babyface. So what I started doing was just continue being a heel. I'm not like true heel, but I still do heel Melina stuff because it feels more natural to me. Because the truth is, like, people are just gonna cheer me because I'm Melina, which is the hardest thing for me. I'm horrible at it. I'm a horrible babyface. And Mickie James was always such a great babyface. Like, I don't even know why they put her as a heel on like WWE. Like, she's just a beautiful baby face, like, genuinely. Like, her character is just always gonna be that. But for me, I'm always gonna be a natural heel.
So when you still play Melina, what parts of Melina did you keep get over more as a babyface than as a heel?
What you could do, like, say when it comes to heel, like, you could do heel moves. This is like the little tricks where I'm like, what do I do? A lot of my stuff is heelish. Say, like, when I do chokes and stuff like that, you can't just do chokes because, like, say the baby face never throws the first punch and all these little things where it's like the heel has to do it first. You have to have the heel do something to justify it. So say, like, if I'm doing a choke, or that's one of my moves, I ask the heel to do a choke so then I could flip it around and justify why I did it. And it's like, and then the people will cheer me like, oh, she's doing something good because that person did something dirty to her first. So it's like, you could do your heel stuff or your heel reactions if that other person did you wrong first or did that first, like something similar first. So the heel in the middle will always be dirtier than you. So, or to do something to justify or to, like, provoke you in those moments. But it's like, say, being strong, you have to have that strength and still be cocky, like, because that's why, like, if you think about it, when Randy Orton back in the day, do you remember when he was, like, they turned him babyface? Mm-hmm. You wanted to see him be heel again. You know what I mean? It's just a difficult thing. Some people, like, you change their character completely, and it's like, it's the most difficult thing to do. So some people can make the transition, some people can't. But you have to heal, going babyface. You have to like lose some of those qualities a little bit. Like say what they made me do was, and I get it killed me, and I get why they told me to do what I did, or what they had me do, is if I keep looking strong or having angry face while I'm in the ring, people aren't going to feel sorry for me. They have to see that face as if like you're on the verge of giving up. You have to change your style, because this is what babyface is to tell that story of, we feel for you, we feel bad for you, like, oh, this might be what kills that person. You have to take them on that emotional roller coaster ride. And I'm sure there is a more perfect way to transition it all, but the way the path that I took, I didn't experience that. Because people hated me, they didn't believe me. They're like, oh, this bitch is gonna screw somebody over. That had to change completely for them to believe that I really have changed my ways, that the character changed my ways.
And it's the exact opposite. One babyface to heel because they have to pick up heel things in order for them to be more nasty, right?
Yeah, but again, it's easier to just screw people. It's all about like that's what the storyline would be like, say, or if you're just telling the story in the ring, you could pretend to grab everybody's attention, as if like have people feel sorry for you, that you're hurt, or that you're caring for somebody else. And then once that babyface does that and then screws somebody over, the fans hate you for that because they felt bad for you. They believed in you. So it's somewhat easier. I mean, I'm not saying it'll be easy for everybody to be heel or easy for everybody to be babyface, but people can believe that better than, once you lose somebody's trust, that's hard to earn back. It's hard to earn back. But if people already give you their trust, then that's okay. You're good with that, and it's easy to take it away.
What would be some big differences in WWE compared to independent?
Lots of huge differences.
Yeah.
Lots of it. I mean, it's not that you lose creative freedom, but there's more restrictions because it's all about telling the story that they want to tell. So it's kind of like the way I see it's here in the indies, you get to tell whatever story you want. You do have like the utmost creative freedom that you could ever have. You will never have the creative freedom the way you do now in the indies. But you have to realize that WWE and places like it, it's a company. And they're in control of the storylines. They're the ones, they pay you to be the actors. So they're like, see it as, they're creating a movie and they hired you to fit this role in these positions, like this character needs this and they, all that stuff, and that's what you need to do. So when you get hired there, you have to understand that you do things the way they ask you to do it. So sometimes there'll be restrictions. Sometimes it won't, like times change though. They're always like putting rules and then taking it away. Like there used to just be rules of how we were supposed to obey the ref, which you should. I do love the fact that they did that, because if you know the rules of the ring and what the ref is telling you and all this stuff, if you obey those, it makes it feel more real, and then the people believe in it more. But I'm telling you, when I watched WrestleMania, I was like, what the hell is going on? Why is he counting people out now? If this whole entire time, people were like taking tables on the outside and no one was giving a shit this whole entire time. Then when the ref started actually saying something, I'm like, why is he doing it now? Like there are so many things like that. Or when there was like the spot fest for the tag matches, oh my god. I was like, there's so many people didn't give a shit about the rules, and like the ref was just like, yeah, whatever. But there's a reason for everything, so it could look more real. And I know everybody wants to get their stuff in. It's cute for the moment, but you gotta remember those little bits and pieces of how having respect for the ref. And they're there for a reason, so we could tell our story better. So it's a beautiful thing, but went off on a tangent, so sorry. Got so angry about all these spots. Oh, but the WWE style, it always changes, always goes in waves. But the one thing that people always get crazy about is just like, I'm not being used and this and this and that. The way people explained it to me, again, like I said, every time you're in this ring, it's your advertisement. So you're sending it out to whoever. So up in the WWE, whenever you're in that ring, you're sending it out to Kevin Dunn and whoever is watching through those cameras. Everybody's watching, whether it's up in the backstage when it comes to the backtracks in the back, or if it's in Gorilla. Everybody's watching, and you have to show them that you're worth something. I was talking to Shane Strickland about this, and we were saying it's the long game. It's not about getting your shit in now. It's not about like, oh, I'm gonna like be this and this and that now. No, you pick your spots. You realize that I'm in it. I want to be in it for the long haul, and not complaining, not like thinking that you're bigger than everybody else at the moment. Because sometimes your ego gets so big that you make all these demands when it's like, oh, well, maybe we don't want you. Yeah, think about all these things. I realize that sometimes, for me, this is what they told me. We're all in a Ferris wheel. Everybody's in one, and at some point you're at the top, and then sometimes it's other people's position, like time to be on the top. But all the time, usually what happens is you always get your chance to go back up and be on top again. And that's just usually the way it works. Everybody gets their spot. Everybody has their moment. But if you're that person who makes their time count in the ring, and you show them that you're valuable every time you're in that ring, then they're going to use you. But always be aware that you got to do what they say, and they're going to take away creative freedom sometimes. And it's our jobs is to tell the story they want us to. But what I found beautiful though was they could tell me how the storylines are going to go, but for the most part, they could never tell me what I do in that ring. And that was I love that. Whatever I did in that ring, that was me.
Yeah, they all like scroll and thing.
Well, they'll try to.
Yeah.
I think they'll try to, but for me, they didn't. Like they did it for like say that some of the other girls that I've worked with, but for me they didn't. I was like, hey. So I'd be the person who'd be like, sorry. But it was always fun. I mean, you gotta appreciate every moment you get, because especially up there, it's kind of like people who know themselves, that know that those restrictions or the lack of creative freedom. They're aware of it, and they know that like I'm here for the money. So I mean, they're smart about it and realistic about it. Some people are unrealistic, but you have to realize. For me, I always kept in mind like this is a dream. I mean, it may not have been perfect, but I mean, never did I think I'd make it up here, and I did. So every little opportunity is a blessing. Every opportunity is a blessing. Just being able to do wrestling, like that was beautiful to me, because how many people get to do this? They can't even fathom being in here. When we get to do it, that's beautiful. So I take pride in that. Just kidding. Any other things? We need more questions.
What was, while being a heel, what was your method of abusing the rules as a heel, but keeping the heat on you, not the referee? Like I know sometimes fans will get at the referee and let's take it away from him. It's your heat,
Yeah.
so you want it on you.
That's true. Well, it was just me doing all this like heelish stuff. It's just like always trying to take it away and not let the ref see. Because I'm trying to think of things that I've done that I did bury the ref. Trying to think of it. Can't remember now, but there were moments where it didn't occur to me that I would be burying the ref until they showed me again, watching back when it comes to tape, and then realizing, oh yeah, that wasn't the smartest thing to do. But I'm glad that you're aware of it. People usually aren't aware of stuff like that. You get told it, and then people just don't care. But the refs there, like, as long as you're not letting people, like, I'm trying to think. I remember watching a match a couple months ago where I thought it was so ridiculous, where it's like the poor ref was getting heat left and right, and then people weren't even caring about what was inside, like what the match actually was, because everyone was hating the ref so much. But I can't remember what it was. Bless them. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't remember. Like, this brain of mine is just like not as good as it used to be. But seriously, the fact that you're aware of, like, well, if you bury the ref or not, you got to be aware of those things, because again, what's the point of telling the story and if you can't get heat and you're giving it to the ref, like, what's the point of you being in there? But if you're a heel, if you're a good heel, and you see that the heat is going to the ref, you got to redirect it. You got to redirect it.
What's the method you would say of doing that?
Oh, you could be the one screaming at the ref or something, or you could do something like it's something something mean to the baby face. Like, it's like, what would a jerk do to another human being? It's like, to me, if you're a good heel where it comes to like being a piece of shit, then it wouldn't be hard to put the focus back on yourself. I think some people, a lot of times when the ref starts getting heat, I think it's when it, and you can't really, this is just me thinking out loud, so it's not fact, but I'm assuming, or like in my mind, I feel like it's when a heel isn't being a great heel, and they're not carrying that much heat to them, that the ref would take the heat. Because if you're a really good heel, there's no way that you would, like, the poor ref would get the heat. Because they do little stuff like screaming at them and everything and getting upset. It's like, I'm trying to think of cases. You remember cases of, like, why am I not thinking of cases when the ref gets heat?
The main event of WrestleMania.
This past WrestleMania?
When he botched the finish. When his shoulders weren't down. that was a joke.
You're talking about when Ronda got pinned?
Mm-hmm.
That was weird. That was so weird.
I think that's a different type of heat we're talking about. I think that's heat. I think that's heat in the back.
That was so weird. Oh my goodness.
I think that's heat. My boss is going to yell at me, heat.
Oh my goodness. That was such an awkward finish. I'll watch that over again, because that just like, it just didn't go right. It just didn't go right, that part. I see what they were trying to do, but it just looked really awkward. What happened on Raw? Like, just out of curiosity, what happened on Raw? Did Ronda come out?
No.
No?
No.
So she gone, you think?
Yeah, she broke her hand.
Probably need a day off.
She broke her hand during the match, so it's gonna get that fit. But what happened was Becky came out, she cut her promo, said she was gonna be a fine champion, and then Lacey Evans comes out, she does her thing, and then she punches Becky right in the face, and then
Lacey does?
Yeah, she punched her. She gave her like her move. Becky sold it for a bit. You were talking about how some people don't sell the punch, but Becky did sell it.
Thank you very much, CJ. Thanks for the real report.
That's what happened. I'm so sorry. Nice.
Christ.
Come on.
You guys what happened. To answer your question, no, Ronda was not on there. She broke her hand. I'm sure it's going to come back into play somewhere down the windup.
Oh my goodness.
I have a question, since you did WrestleManias. I know years ago, in the 80s, early 90s, that the wrestlers would get a break after WrestleMania. They would call it a WrestleMania break. This is before the days of live Raw. I'm going back to when primetime wrestling was on the USA Network. Do they still, like, you looked at me like I had 9 heads just now, so I'm going to assume that they don't do that no more.
They work you to death. It always feels like they usually after pay-per-views and stuff like that, they kind of rehash or redo the matches that they had in the pay-per-view prior. So it feels like that's usually what they do.
No, he's a friend of mine.
No, we always work the next day.
Yeah, I mean, years ago, I think they would get like a week off. They would call it WrestleMania.
Oh my goodness.
And by the way, you just kind of responded to that. I guess that's something that's long gone.
Oh my goodness. Lucky them. No,
Again, days before live television.
I was like, I'm like, okay, let's just keep working. Yeah, oh my goodness. That's why it's like if you were on SmackDown, it's like, oh, you would be lucky enough to have that Monday break. But if you're on Raw, it's like, no, you work the next day. You work the next day.
What is the off schedule? Do these guys, girls, get days off? Does it? What is the work schedule like? I mean,
guess we get days off. It would be so Raw. We worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then you get Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off. But usually, like Tuesday would be travel day. Yeah, Tuesday would be travel day, and then you'd have Wednesday, Thursday to do stuff, and then you're back on the road on Friday. And then SmackDown would be Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday's a travel day. That travel day would just kill everything.
you didn't get much time at home, is what you're saying?
No.
And they didn't give you off like, okay, Melina, you're off these 3 weeks in March.
No.
Okay.
The only vacation I had.
So it's not like the NFL where the Super Bowl's over. It's go home and work out on your own for a few weeks.
I mean, which was good, because I always had work and I was always in demand, which is great. But the only time I got a vacation was when I had surgery, and that's it.
So if you ever want to take your kids away to Disney World, too bad.
Well, maybe if I had kids,
But you know,
I'd do it, but
you know what I'm saying.
But they're like, oh, these kids are young, let's work them to death. And we were willing to, because, you didn't want to lose your spot. You wanted to be a part of the storyline. Like, we were hungry, so we kept working. So it's kind of like you can't. It's hard because it's like we didn't know any better. We didn't know any other way. Part of me can't blame them, and part of me does. So it's like. But all I knew is that I was working. I had a spot, and I was in demand, and I was like, So it's just like, it was great because I was always working and practicing. And the moment where you feel like, oh, I'm not being used, it kind of like gets you like, oh, shit, am I going to lose my spot? What's happening? But yeah, like the only time I ever got vacation was like my surgeries. And that wasn't a vacation, that was hell. Watch, like, to be sidelined and watch everybody wrestle while you can't, like, ah.
And did you still have to show up at TV when you were hurt, or no?
Huh?
Did you still have to show up at TV, or no?
No, because you have to do rehab and all that stuff. So I stayed at home.
So these bigger names that are like Lesnar, maybe he's not a good example. Cena, maybe he's not either. Certain people only have to appear on TV and not have to worry about doing house shows, or?
Well, it depends. You have to be either super, super over or not as over. Because people get used because they are a draw. So, but Cena used to be at a lot of them.
Yeah, that was also 15 years ago when he was starting out.
That's true. But he was still there before. But he was still over. So
Because Brock Lesnar probably wasn't doing house
I
shows.
think he's a workaholic. Like he just loved working. But yeah, I don't think you'll see Lesnar at house shows. Taker did some. I think he did more overseas back in that time. Because he's the draw and stuff like that. So, yeah. You always had to have like a couple of big names. And I think those ones got switched in and out. The rest of us were like, we were good enough, strong enough names people will want to come back. Or want to come see us. And, you know, you got your tags and all this stuff. So it's like, if you were, I mean, maybe they'll have some of their jobbers, but if you were, it was considered something to have a spot on the live events.
Because years ago, I tell these guys all the time, Hogan never wrestled. This is back on a Saturday morning. Hogan never wrestled. You do an interview to say he's going to be at the Garden on this date, and the only way you could see Hogan was to go to the Garden, and that was a big deal. Now it's just like you see them every Monday. Why do I need to go? You know?
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. That's different. I always tell people go to a live event because those are like funner though. I don't know. The energy is different than if you go to a TV taping. TV taping, it's like I feel like I'm just always watching it on the big screen. And then when they start looking at it on the big screen, I think about it. I'm like, oh, I should just watch it at home. But when it comes to a live event, it feels like, you know, you feel the energy. I like that feeling. But yeah, vacations. If you want to take the family. Aww. Yeah, but then at that time, I don't think a lot of people had family. Like, Eddie would always bring the girls around and stuff. I remember that. Like, you get some people who brought their family along, which is always good to see. But other people, I'm just like, I don't know. It's like they were always away from their family. So odd. This is wrestling.
Pam, you have no questions? You're sitting there very quiet.
I just like let everyone do their questions.
She's been here a month.
Oh!
But she gets frustrated very, very easily.
I get more frustrated at myself because I've reviewed this a couple times and I was like, wait, I just did this. Why did I mess up? So I just get in my head and everything. So.
In a way, it's good that you get like aggravated at yourself like that because you know and you want to get better. That's a sign of you wanting to get better. But I've had moments like that where it's like I was told this. Why do I keep doing it? But if you keep saying that, at some point when it clicks, and you do start getting better and better and better. But you being aware of that just makes it like that moment. Like that means that moment is going to happen. If you're the type of person who dismissed it, then you're never going to get better. But if you know that there's something wrong, I mean, you may not get it now, but at some point when it clicks, then it's like, at least you're telling yourself, I got to get better at this. This is what I need to improve on. I shouldn't have done that. And you have to tell yourself those things. You do, so that's a good thing. I'll tell you, as soon as you get through those tough parts of that frustration, it just opens up a whole new world for you. It's like you seeing a different perspective. You just gotta tough through that. So excited for you. She's in the new stages.
I think she thought she was going to be main eventing WrestleMania in 2 months. No, I'm joking.
I would have been tossed around like a fish or something.
All we did was like bumps and learn this way to do a bump, that way to do a bump. Just bump, bump, bump. And I'm like, this sucks. So many bumps.
Roger, you have no questions? Nothing? Just listening.
What was like your schedule for what you would do on the day of a Raw? What was that day-to-day like?
That's different for everybody. It all depends on who you are, but you have to show up on. Like say, sometimes we have to show up sooner. Other times, depending on time zones. But we're supposed to get there around noon, and then we stay there all day. Like you just stay there all day. A lot of wait, hurry up and wait. But for me personally, like everybody would just hang around catering and group, like, you know, hang out with each other. And for me, until I knew what I was supposed to do, I just start running the bleachers. Like I just run stairs because I feel like I should be doing something. Dad, I wasn't really great at socializing, so I just run and do stuff like that and think about stuff and listen to music. And then as soon as I finally get told what I'm doing, then it was focused on that. Because that was, but yeah, like it's different from everybody, but it's sometimes it takes forever to tell you what you're supposed to do. Like they have, even that day, even though like the writers are writing all week long in Stanford, sometimes things will just like junk all of it, and then they'll rewrite stuff. So then on that same day, you're still rewriting until somewhat hours before TV. So then you finally get told what you're doing. So it depends on your personality, what you want to do. I don't think there's any wrong way, unless you do that.
So, say you're preparing for your time and what you have to be doing, and they tell you, oh, we just cut you in half, or your time, or it's just been taken out and replaced with something else. How do you go along with dealing with it?
Just gotta deal with it. Like I think that says a lot about your like say a person's personality. Because yeah, some people get upset, but I'm the personality type that would laugh. I'm like, of course that happens. Of course that's gonna happen. And then I just roll with it. Maybe sometimes they would probably do it that much more to see if I'd react, but I don't know. It's just like it sucks. It just sucks, but what am I gonna do? I have to tell the story. And you're saying like prior or in the moment? Because usually when time gets cut, no, it's both times. Sometimes they'll say it right before you're going out. It's like, oh yeah, the guys went over this many minutes, so you guys can't have you can't have your
no.
You cut it. They would do that, or they would do it right inside the as you're having a match, and they're like, yeah, your time just got cut. You gotta go home now. So you just gotta roll with it and deal with it, and tell the story to the best of your ability while you're in there. Because we're professionals.
Was there ever a case where someone found out they were not on the show and they just left?
Wait, what?
Yeah, is there a case where someone found out their time was cut, like they weren't going to be on the show, so they just decided to leave and catch their flight to the next town or whatever?
What? That's an indie thing, right? Because who does that? That is unprofessional.
That's why I'm asking. Was there ever a case like that in WWE?
You get fired.
Alright.
Get fired.
I don't know how
Don't do that. Don't do bad business.
Okay, no.
You shouldn't do it here anyway. You shouldn't do it anywhere.
That's not what I meant. I'd say you had to be somewhere else by the end of that night. Like you had to catch your flight.
No, okay, say if you, because there are times where you're not even on the card, like you're not even booked on the card. You have to show up
Zack Ryder.
every week.
That guy was.
Yeah, they didn't have him do matches for a long time. And but you have to show up every week just or whatever the case may be. But you have to show up every week, and you have to stay until the end of the show, just like everybody else. There's no leaving early. You have to stay with everybody.
How did you go about cutting promos?
Cutting promos?
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I was really bad at them in OVW. But once I got into WWE, it's like, I don't know, since I knew my character, it started feeling better. So it just like, I don't know how other people are really great at it, like on the fly. I'm not great on the fly. So what they had us do is they gave us a script. And I would just take it with a grain of salt, like whatever, as long as you get the hit the points. I mean, Granted, it took me a while to get to that point where they trusted me, where I could say whatever, but as long as I hit their points, that's all that mattered. And then then I'd cut my promo doing exactly that. But usually, if they give you until you reach that point, they'll give you a script and you have to say what they want you to say. But if they know you and you're doing great in your promos prior, like if they've seen you in the indies, you already a master doing promos and stuff like that, or at NXT at their training facility, if they know you can cut a good promo, then they'll talk to you, the agents will talk to you and say, this is what we need you to say, and as long as you hit these points, do whatever. So it all depends, like, these are different methods. Everybody gets different methods depending on where they know your level is. But when it comes to learning how to cut promos, it's the same as acting. Look in the mirror, study your face, look at your facial features, the tone of your voice, brainstorming on all these things. It's like it's just practice.
How long did it take until you until it clicked for you? Like in the ring and character-wise?
Character-wise?
Yeah.
It's always. I think when it came to Eminem, that's when it felt natural and like this was the role I was supposed to play. Like that felt right. But things like that, it's kind of like you don't know until it happens. It's kind of like when I got my contract. Everyone says right place, the right time. And it's like, what is that? That's weird. That's stupid. But you don't know what it means. Like you don't realize it until it actually happens. Like, oh, this is what people mean. But when it comes to that feeling of like this is that character for me, or this is what feels right, I think you just know it through and through. Like you have so much fun with this character that you feel it in your bones. Like I own this. I own this character. Like nobody can take it away from you. I think once you have that confident feeling, then you know that this is the right character for you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how often this happens in WWE, but I know it's very common on the indies. Like, there's cases where a match can change, or your spot on the card can change, and you might get no time to call a match. You can just be like, hey, you're going out there right now. Just go. Have you ever had any experience with that kind of stuff, and how did you manage to work with it?
Like doing it on the fly like that, where there was no, like not letting us know that we're gonna do it. Not so much. Maybe it was just like we just got added, but we were lucky enough, like knock on wood, we were lucky enough to have time. But I mean, that's why like usually it's a great thing to be able to harness that skill, because it is a skill, just in case, because you never know if something like that's going to happen. So it's good to have that skill. It's exceptional to have that skill. But usually we were always lucky enough to not be able to be put in that position. The only time I remember that was something similar to that was they canceled my flight, missed my I didn't have a connection, but I was a drive away from the show. So instead of going into the airport I was supposed to go, I had to. They booked me a car to have me drive to the show because I needed to make it, and thank goodness it was a tag match. But and then being a heel is so super easy because all I needed to do was give heat. But it was just sucky where as soon as I got there, I changed into the car, and as soon as I walked out, we did our match, and then that was that. But that's the closest I've ever been to where I didn't know what anybody was doing, but my tag partner was able to get those the heat spot and everything, and be able to take the bumper feed.
Interrupted.
Melina, we do a drill here where I'll say, all right, you two guys call a match, you two call a match, and I'll give them 5 minutes to call a match, and then when it's their turn to go in, I'll say, no, now you're going to work him, and I'll change you all up. So they know how to work on the fly, because I always say, what happens if you go to Mexico? We don't speak Spanish, and they don't speak English.
I always wondered, I was never able to do that.
We also do body language drills where learn how to see somebody's going for an arm drag, somebody's going for a hip toss, a scoop slam. Because I was trained not to call a match. I have a bad memory too, so I'll never remember.
To me, it's harder. Everybody has all these moves and stuff like that, and they call out so many spots where I'm like, wait. And then another thing, okay, I was gonna say you guys, but it's not you necessarily, you guys. But people I work with where I'm like, you have so many spots, and all the spots look alike. Where I confuse all the spots and they all run together. Where I'm like, we're always coming out of a corner. Where we're always running, like, there's nothing special to it that makes me remember all these crazy long ass spots, like, that are 50 million things. It's just, like, so hard. Like, I mean, they're able to remember it because they're in practice of it. It's all how you practice it. But back in, like, in my time is more like you only remember this, like, the certain parts, like the main, like the heat spot, and then with the finishes and the comeback, like just stuff like that. You remember the basic, like you just remember those parts as long as you get that. So if we get cut time, because if you planned all this stuff and then they cut time and told you to go home 3 minutes early or whatever the case may be, you know what's cut out. You know, like, okay, we haven't planned all this stuff, because some people can't plan that. They plan so much that they either don't know what to cut, or they're so used to planning all these things and executing it that to think of cutting it out, they freak out and they don't even know what to do. But I need to finish the match. So all these skills, that's awesome too. So no one ever taught me that the body language skill. That's something that
we throw them in the rope, and the guy stays in the middle, and you got to go by what his body is. You know when an arm drag's coming. You know when a hip toss is coming. Clothesline, whatever. You know.
Well, for me, it's like
shoulder block.
Girls in my time, either they never spoke, like I couldn't hear them, or they would forget to say anything. Like I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? But I learned to read body language because I had no choice. I had no choice because nobody was ever taught. It's just like I'd see, and I think that's a beautiful thing too, because you study body language and how somebody moves, and not only are because like you could work in the ring, like for the purpose he's saying, because that's a beautiful skill to have. Like that's good he's teaching you guys that. But I also feel like you could also learn what fits yourself and other people best when it comes to selling. Because sometimes people plan all these moves just like you have to sell this way, sell that way, and that's not even instinctual to them, so they're gonna make it look like crap. Like they're selling the way you're telling them to sell will not look good because naturally they don't sell that way. So studying body language is a great skill to have. And it protects you too.
Adding on to what you said when you say that you need to sell